What is up, people of YouTube? I'm your host Vernon. This is Reynolds Ponds. Let's fish that. Alright, ladies and gents, over the last few weeks I've learned quite a lot about ice fishing. Now, the most important thing that I've learned out there is that there's quite a lot I don't know. Now, setting up a shelter, making a little hole, that's easy kind of stuff. Problem is figuring out where to find the fish. Just like in summer or fall, the fish behavior changes and you have to find the fish and figure out where they are. Now, I do tend to watch a lot of content here on YouTube, and it can be quite confusing sometimes. For instance, there are two major schools of thought when it comes to ice fishing. You'll have a group of people saying that the fish are cruising around looking for bait, so if you're in a particular spot, just sit there and wait and the fish will come by. On the other hand, you have people saying, but if you go out there, you need to go and find where the fish are to get on some fish. Now, there is only so much you can learn from watching videos. The best way to learn is to actually get out there and try it yourself. And that is why I picked this particular spot here at Reynolds Ponds. I'm not at the big major pond, I'm on one of the smaller little ponds. And the main idea is being a smaller body of water, so it should be easier to move around and try and find the fish. Now, this is the pond or lake where I caught my first brown trout. And having spent time here in spring, and I can see all the activity, I know there's a lot of fish, and I want to try and focus on the spots where I saw the fish and where I saw the activity, see if maybe the fish are still there, whether they've moved to different spots. I'm also picking this particular pond because of brown trout. Not all trout are the same. Brown trout are more adventurous eaters, they're more opportunistic, they will try and eat anything they can find, so I'm hoping they might be easier to catch. Now, it is going to be a nice and sunny day, but it is still minus 28 degrees Celsius, with the maximum today only reaching minus 21, so still pretty cold out there. So I might need to set up the little pop-up shelter just for some warmth, but the idea is going to be trying to move around and finding a good spot before doing that. So now, knowing what the plan is, let's get some holes in the ice. We just had a little bell ringing. Still some movement. Let's see if we have a fish on. And they just stole our baits. But that's a good sign, getting a bite up shallow like this. Near the reeds, that's where I got them in spring as well. So I think these fish are cruising all around. But I'm just going to rebait, get it back down there. Maybe not go too far away. See if we get another hit. Alright, ladies and gents, I've been having quite a lot of problems with the cold and the batteries on my devices. One of my phones I use for recording sound that stopped working, and the batteries on this little camera that are going rather quickly. But so far we've missed 2 fish. One of them in the first little hole up shallow, and the second one in this hole here. Now, at this point, I missed the first one because I was too far away. By the time I reached it, it already spat out the little hook. So for that reason, I'm trying to stay close to this little rod. This one is in 1.3 meters worth of water, and just a bit away. And this hole, this is 2.7 meters. So I'm going to be jigging in this one and listening out for the bell on that one, running between the two, seeing if we can get any fish before moving on, trying to find a different spot. Maybe try and see if I can find any deeper waters. There is also one spot near those reeds I want to still try out, but I'm going to try and preserve the batteries, so I'll only bring you guys if we have any action. Alright, ladies and gents, I've now been moving all across the little pond here, going to the far corner, trying to find a deeper spot. And so far, the batteries on our little drill, that is also getting a beating from the cold. So for that reason, I decided it's about time we get into our little shelter. Now at the moment, I'm very close to where we first started, our first little spot. And you wouldn't believe it, this close to the side on this is actually the deepest part I could find. We have a shallow bank on this side, and a shallow bank on that side. There's a little deep trough here. That's where I set up, hoping to find some fish swimming in between the shallow parts, coming through our little deep trough here. And I'm just going to be having some baits down and jigging down there. We'll see if we have any action and if we can get any fish. Alright, ladies and gents, I tried doing this outro out on the ice, but the cameras kept dying. That is the type of day I've had out there. Now, as a YouTuber trying to make content, it is very difficult when you don't get any fish or any action. But I did say in some of my previous videos that I've been getting quite a lot of skunk-filled videos out on the ice, and then I upload videos of me catching fish. So maybe it's about time I actually upload a skunk video. Now, it's not only the cameras that keep on dying and me not being able to get any footage, but I also managed to break my little Bluetooth connector for my microphones. So my Bluetooth microphones, they aren't working anymore. And to make matters worse, I actually had 5 times where I could have caught some fish out there, where bells were ringing or rods were bending over. One of those, actually the fish grabbed the one rod, missed the hook set on that one, and then he grabbed the other one. I could see him swimming from the one hole to the other one. Really frustrating things. It's like they're grabbing the worms, but they're not ever getting the hooks. Even changed out to different hooks, but I couldn't get on any fish, even though we had some opportunities. So, out of that point of view, it's been a very disappointing day. But as an average fisherman, it was a wonderful day out there. I had tons of fun. It's great being able to see the fish down in the ice. This lake is not very deep, so you can see the bottom, you can see when there's fish swimming around. And I have to say, I think there are far fewer fish in this pond than I thought there was. Now, being new to ice fishing, even a skunkful day like this can teach you quite a lot. For instance, I asked the question this morning whether it's better to be moving around or sticking into one spot. And I did both out there today. Moved around quite a lot to a different few spots, and sat in one particular spot for a couple of hours as well. Now, the spot in shallow where I sat the whole time waiting, that actually had the most action, the most fish swimming past. But I only found that spot because I was moving around, checking the depths everywhere, seeing if I can see any fish. So whether the one method is better than the other, that I don't know. And I think it's very bad to go either black or white. I think fishing comes in all different flavors of grey. And of course, when you're talking about the different types of fish, that's when it gets even more grey. Certain fish like channel catfish, they love going to the deep water in winter. They get very lethargic. They go spend some time in some structure. They don't move around a lot. Same thing with something like crappie. They tend to go for some structure down. They're not moving around, they're sitting on the structure. So if you find that spot, you're in a good spot. With something like trout or even walleye, they tend to patrol around looking for some food. So it's important as an angler to be thinking about what fish you are targeting and what they are doing. It is also important to be thinking about what you as the angler are doing. I found that most of the bites I was getting was when I walked around on the pond or the lake. When I'm going to the opposite side, I will hear the bell ringing on that side. And that's the thing. I think in a shallow lake like this, when the ice isn't that thick, you moving around, I think you're actually chasing the fish around. And if it was a weekend with lots of people out there, the fish might be chased around quite a lot. But for me, it seemed like the fish were sitting in the opposite corner from where I was. And if I moved, they would move as well. And it's all these little things that makes fishing exciting and interesting. And that is why I said, as an average guy doing some fishing, it was a fun day out there, and I would do it at a drop of a hat again. Alright, so even though we didn't get any fish in this video, I hope at least you learned something from this, and that you do understand that we are all just people. Sometimes we all get skunked. And please do give me a little thumbs up for keeping it real. Feel free to ask any questions down below in the comments. And if you're new to my channel, consider hitting subscribe, joining my community. Alright guys, but thanks for following along on this one. And like always, I'll see you next time.